A third straight game, losing a big lead and going into a deep offensive rut. Why it's not time to panic about the Magic's offense today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is December 24th, 2025. Merry Christmas Eve to everybody. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can, of course, credential member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic survive against the Portland Trailblazers 110-106. Why the Magic's offense looked so good, and why it went into the tank, and why you shouldn't worry about it. The up and down offense from the Magic. Plus, Tyus Jones demands an apology. So we'll talk about that and more coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day. Every day you can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies, one of our everydayers. That means you're listening 5 times a week. That means you're listening every day. That means we are part of your regular podcast rotation. That means we are your first listen of the day. I want to thank you for making the Locked On Magic community so great. And we want to thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 podcast network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. The Orlando Magic were hanging on. Hanging on. Couldn't really get shots to go down. Nice little spell from Wendell Carter. Desmond Bane and a Wendell Carter shot made it a 5-point game, but the Magic were clinging to a lead to try and get out of Portland and get out of this road trip with an even record, a 2-2 record. The Magic were doing everything they could, with all the injuries they're facing, with all of that, to grit out a win. And we're going to talk about the offense today, because this game had a very similar vibe to Saturday's game against Utah, had a very similar vibe at times to Monday's game against Golden State. The difference was, and the reason why the Magic won this game, was their defense was on point. Their defense in the second half, and specifically in the last half of the fourth quarter, the Magic's defense did the job. And we're going to lead today by talking about Desmond Bane blocking Donovan Clingan's shot with the Magic, clinging on to a 2-point lead. Clinging to a 2-point lead. After an offensive rebound, after a mad scramble, after struggling to rotate over to stop Denny Avdia, Wendell Carter had to leave Donovan Clingan to challenge the Avdia shot. Avdia dumped it down to Clingan, and Bane came in from behind and blocked the shot. Magic up by 2 at the time. Made both free throws, made it a 4-point game. That is who this Magic team is, because no matter what chaos is going on around them, no matter what is happening, the Magic can count on their defense. They couldn't do that on Monday. Monday was a defensive disaster. Saturday was also poor defensively. The Magic have given up more than 120 points per 100 possessions in 3 of the previous 4 games heading into the season. They hadn't given up 120 points per 100 possessions in consecutive games since the infamous Detroit and Philadelphia games back in October. So the Magic's defense did the job. And if the Magic defend at a high level, and let me pull up the advanced stats here. If the Magic defend at the level they know they're capable of, and a 108.2 defensive rating is going to get the job done on most nights. A 111.1 offensive rating won't, but a 108.2 defensive rating will. The Magic did the job. They got the stops they needed. They cleaned things up. They won this basketball game. But we all know that defense is going to be there. And the key to the Magic taking that next step, taking that next leap, is their offense. And you might be sitting there saying, like, well, Phil, like I go to NBA.com/stats because I'm a stat nerd. I know the Magic are ranked 11, or at least entering today's game. They're probably lower now, but Entering Tuesday's game, the Magic are 11th in offensive rating. Why are we so focused on the offense? It's the defense at 8th in the league that needs to tighten up. And you're right. Defense needs to tighten up. It's been a little loose. It's not the elite level. And again, some of that is personnel right now. But this game perfectly encapsulated why the Magic's offense can be so good and why it can be so bad. And why at this juncture, with all the injuries facing the Magic, with all the players they're missing and everything they don't have right now, this Magic team is not the offensive team it's been all season. And is just kind of riding the waves of their shot making, their defense getting stops and getting out in transition. This Magic offense right now is wildly inconsistent. They're in the bottom 10 in the league in offensive rating over the last, so pretty much since Franz Wagner went out over the last 7 games. And not to get over the point too much, but a big reason why the Magic could not put this game away. A big reason why the Magic lost a 17-point lead, gave up a 19-2 run at the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter. The reason why this was even a game to begin with was because everything the Magic did offensively over the course of the second quarter when they built their double-digit lead. It's not necessarily that they stopped doing it in the second half and in the fourth quarter especially. The execution, the shot making just went poof. Pun intended, it disappeared. This still comes down to force. And this still comes down to being able to create shots and having players who can hit the tough shots that you need them to hit. I don't want to sit here and rehash all the Paolo Banchero stuff. I don't want to spend more than a couple minutes on Paolo Banchero, and we'll get to him when we get to the box score at the end of the episode. But Paolo Banchero is the guy that gets you the tough shot in crunch time. He is the guy when there's chaos all around you, when nothing seems to be working, you work to get him a shot in a good spot, and he delivers that calming shot. He delivers that shot that just allows you to exhale a little bit. And again, we'll talk more specifically about Paolo. In the fourth quarter, at the end of the game, those shots went to Desmond Bane. And Desmond Bane, who made 4 of 7 3-pointers, was 6 for 15. That's 2 for 8 on 2-point field goal attempts. And again, Desmond Bane was the hero, blocked the shot. But throughout much of the latter stages of the fourth quarter, Orlando was trying to extend their lead after they took it back, after they looked like they're about to gain some steam. He missed a lot of these runners, a lot of these scoop shots, took a quick jumper on a 2-for-1 out of a timeout. It's a lot of these same issues of just pure execution, because Orlando got outscored 56-47 in the second half. Got outscored 26-21 in the fourth quarter. Orlando ended the game with 36 points in the paint. They were 18 for 36. Portland outscored them 58-36 in the paint. So thank goodness the Magic made 15 threes. They shot 45.5% from three. Thank goodness they made their 3 outside shots, because if they didn't make their outside shots, they didn't have much else going, because they couldn't get downhill against this long, pressure-filled Portland defense. And right now, this Magic offense, because you're dealing with a Paolo Banchero who perhaps isn't super aggressive or doesn't have the confidence to make those tough jumpers. He took a few of them tonight. They missed them, but I didn't mind them. They don't have a Paolo Banchero right now who's demanding the ball and demanding attention. He's still getting attention, but he's not demanding attention. And so that leads to every little mistake adding up. Every mistake seems to be worse. The Magic had 5 turnovers in the first quarter. Really ugly first quarter for Orlando. Probably should have been up by more with the way they were defending overall. They didn't have a turnover in the second quarter. No turnovers in the second quarter. Shot 48%, 6 for 8 from 3. They expanded their lead out to 13 at the half. Third quarter, they had 9 turnovers in the third quarter. Now, Portland didn't get all the way back into the game at that point, but Magic still led by, 8 or 9 at that point, at the end of the quarter. But then only 1 turnover in the fourth quarter, but that's when they stopped making shots. 7 for 20 in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, Orlando shot 3 for 8 in the paint. Not only not getting shots in the paint, missing them. Once again, struggling to score at the rim and at the basket. This is still the Magic's bread and butter. And so I always get scared when the Magic make their threes that they lean on their three-point shooting too much, that they become too much of a three-point shooting team. And look, that bailed them out because we're going to talk about one of those players that bailed them out coming up here in a minute. The Magic offense right now is just going to go up and down because they don't have the player that can create force. Not consistently enough. And again, I'll talk about Paolo because I think he did good things. But that fourth quarter was screaming for Paolo Banchero or Desmond Bane to take over, to get them home. Unfortunately for them, their defense was able to do it. They grabbed the lead and they held on. And we'll take it. That's not exactly confidence building. A big reason for the Magic's win, a big reason are all the players you hate. The person you hate the most made some pretty good points on Tuesday. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports. Bowl games, big basketball games, playoff pushes, it's all happening at once. And while we're all making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, and available in 45 states, including right here in Florida. Prize Picks has added an extra layer of excitement to the holiday sports schedule because you can get in on the action with the large slate of NBA games, as well as the slate of NFL games in one grouping. Creating a lineup takes less than a minute, and the app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive. There's nothing confusing about this game. You just pick more or less on the player projections. And the best part is winning's pretty easy. You don't have to, depending on how big your grouping is, you don't have to win all your picks to win your group. It's that much fun. The early payout feature is a great bonus too, because when your lineup starts strong, you may get the option to cash out early. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day and your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. But if you haven't already, go check out the new Everydayer Club. You get so many cool perks with the Everydayer Club, including access to the ad-free audio feed of Locked On Magic, compatible with any major podcast app. And you get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server to chat with other NBA fans as well as other Magic fans as we continue to build our Everydayer Club. You get to interact with me directly. I am sitting in that room waiting for you to ask me questions and bother me with questions. Trust me, you're not bothering me if you're in the Everydayer Club. Go to our specific URL to check out the Everydayer Club too at lockedonmagic.supercast.com. Again, that's lockedonmagic.supercast.com, or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Orlando Magic fans do not like Tyus Jones. He hasn't performed. He hasn't played at the level that Magic fans certainly want him to. and has not played at the level that we all expected him to play at, considering what his career has been. Yes, the assist to turnover ratios come back to normal, but what the Magic hoped to get was a solid point guard who could manage the team, direct some traffic, and make threes. Now, he's been a solid point guard. He has managed traffic. He hasn't made threes. And that has only accentuated what we all knew and understood inherently was going to be a major struggle on defense. Like we all understood defense was going to be rough for him. Tyus Jones has not been good. Again, entering tonight's game, 2.7 points per game, only 2.2 assists per game, 0.3 turnovers per game. It's career low, but he's also not playing very much, only 14.7 minutes per game. He entered the game. He entered the game tonight shooting 27.8% from three. Not the Tyus Jones the Magic signed up for. And yes, those calls for Jace Richardson are legitimate. We talked about that last week. The Magic do not win Tuesday, though, without Tyus Jones. And for the first time all season, we saw very clearly the Tyus Jones the Magic wanted to sign. 16 points, 6 for 9 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3, 7 assists, no turnovers, although he'll probably give himself a turnover for a bad pass to Paolo Banchero that led to a turnover. Paolo Banchero's only turnover of the game. The Magic were +7 in his minutes. He added 4 rebounds. He added a steal. Tyus Jones was everywhere. And as I was watching the end of this game and seeing the Magic struggle to execute offensively at the end of the game, I was saying to my TV screen, I was shouting, run everything through Tyus. Tyus needs to make decisions. Don't just hand the ball to Paolo. Don't just hand the ball to Desmond Bane at the top of the key and let them create. Run a Paolo-Tyus pick and roll. Let Tyus make the decisions and put guys in the right spots because he was doing that all night long. The truth is, Tyus Jones has been a lot better than I think a lot of Magic fans want to give him credit for. I'm not sitting here saying he's been everything the Magic need him to be. I'm not sitting here saying that the Magic don't have some major questions. I'm not sitting here saying that Tyus Jones' defense Tyus Jones' defense is acceptable enough for his offensive production. If Tyus Jones can score 16 points and dish out 7 assists, you can deal with some defensive shortcomings. Now, I would argue and point to some stats that would suggest that Jace Richardson's defense has been much worse, and that Tyus Jones, Magic essentially break even defensively with him on the floor, at least recently. But Tyus Jones has really come out of whatever shooting slump he was in. In the month of December, so we're just talking about the last 9 games. In the month of December, there are some stinkers in there. A 1 for 6 shooting performance against Utah, for instance. And I'm not including tonight's game because I don't have those numbers readily available. Tyus Jones has started to come around. Ever so slightly starting to come around. My stats aren't loading, so we're going to have to be a little patient here. The passing starting to get up. He had 4 assists against Golden State, 2 against Utah, 4 against Denver, 4 against Miami in the NBA Cup game, 6 against the Bulls back on December 1st. There's more and more coming from Tyus Jones. Like I said, in December, so just this month, in December, in 9 games, Jones is averaging 4.2 points per game, double what he's averaging for the season, 2.8 assists per game, shooting 33.3% from 3, with 25 assists in 9 games. That's almost 3 assists. It's 2.7, I think. Now, that 9-game sample is a pretty big one. You know, there have been some stinkers in the process. On this road trip, and we'll go ahead and include the New York game. On this road trip, the 4 games heading into this game, he's up to 5 points per game, shooting 4 for 13 from 3. but generally more active. 2.8 assists per game, 11 assists in those games. This was his breakthrough. Like, just plain and simple. I'm not going to sit here and say Tyus Jones has been amazing. But this was his breakthrough to show you what he can do and what he can be. This was his breakthrough to say, hey, I can still contribute something meaningful to this team. And that is something the Magic desperately needed. There are a lot of questions about whether Tyus should be starting. And right now, with the injuries the Magic are facing, Tyus should be starting. Because you can't play Tyus and Jace together, so bringing one of them off the bench means you're not playing one of them. And whether you like it or not, Moses is going to play Tyus. Tyus has not played poorly enough to lose his spot in the rotation. Again, I will repeat, because I do believe this too, Jace has earned a more serious look at minutes. Even in this game, I thought he did some good things. Wasn't his best game, but he's scrappy on defense. I thought Tyus brought the best defensive effort he's brought all season these last 2 games. But a game like this is what Tyus can give you. That floor spacing and, frankly, that calm. In a game that had a lot of chaos. In a game that was very up and down. The Magic got sucked into the pace a little too much. Made some bad decisions at the rim, bad decisions to attack. Didn't play patience. Tyus brings that patience. Tyus brings that calm. And that is what Tyus Jones brings. We finally saw it play out the way we expected it to on Tuesday night. Again, always about consistency. It's always about the next game. Can you do it again? And the bet is that Tyus can. He wasn't the only one to get the last laugh. Why? Another frequently criticized Magic player also was big in this one. Plus, we'll break down Paolo Banchero's passive, in quotation marks, game. Why I think this was still a really good Paolo Banchero game. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building. The energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets. Fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. They even tell you the hottest events in town, not just for sporting events, but concerts, shows, theater, and more. You can see the view from your seat with a digital view of the stage, field, pitch, court, whatever, making it easy to choose tickets and stay confident. Their zone deals help unlock great seats and even better value, and their prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. Tyus Jones was not the only player to beat the accusations on Tuesday. And this was a weird game where the Magic got more contributions from unexpected sources and unexpected players than they did from their stars. Yes, Desmond Bane ultimately led the team in scoring with 23 points. Yes, the Magic got only 8 field goal attempts from Paolo Banchero on his way to 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Magic only got 10 for 23 shooting, and Desmond Bane was 6 for 15. 10 for 23 shooting from their 2 stars. That is a recipe for a loss with how much the Magic are missing right now. Magic shot 43.5%. They made 4 fewer field goal attempts. The difference in this game was 3-point shooting. Again, a weird game. The Magic were 15 for 33 from 3. That's 45.5%. First time they shot 40% or better from 3 in a while. The Blazers were 9 for 32. Shaedon Sharpe was 2 for 7. Denny Avdia was 2 for 6. Caleb Love Arizona/North Carolina zone, 3 for 8 from 3. Caleb Love gave a huge boost with 17 points. Magic didn't really know what to do with him. But they were just 9 of 32 from 3. And so the Magic had a 6 3-point advantage. It's 18 points to play with. Magic won the foul line by 6. So that's 24 points to play with. They gave away 4 of those on field goals. Portland made 41, Orlando only 37. Portland got more offensive rebounds, more second chance points, more fast break points. There's a lot of things that were a recipe to a loss in this game. And so when you have Tyus Jones score 16 points and make 4 threes, that gets you through it. When Anthony Black scores 19 of his 22 points in the first half, including making 4 of 8 from 3, including scoring the first 8 points for the Magic, including 2 3-pointers, that's like found money. And then you get Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac scored 9 points on 3 for 5 shooting. Misses only 3, was 3 for 4 from the line, which is good for him. Had only a steal, didn't have a block. But playing backup center with Goga Bitadze out of the game. Goga Bitadze out with a knee strain. Jonathan Isaac made some really huge plays. And he's struggled on offense. He is struggling to find a shot. He's struggling at times to catch the ball underneath the rim. The Magic want to use him as a floor spacer, but he is a sub 30. He might be sub 20 3-point shooter. He is really struggling. And it has always been the case, or it's been the case the last 2 years, that Jonathan Isaac is this sort of black hole on offense. You're just hoping his defensive effort, you're hoping his defensive intensity, his defensive presence outweigh any drain he has on offense. And so it is worth pointing out that the Magic still had a 114.3 offensive rating. They struggled defensively with him on the floor because he really shouldn't be playing center. He just got crushed by Donovan Clingan on the glass. Anson Young got him a few times, although I thought Young traveled on one of those fouls. Isaac's playing way out of position. But still, those 7 points, that's found money. That's stuff you don't expect. And again, in a 4-point game, those 7 points are the difference. Or those 9 points, a season high 9 points are the difference. Can Isaac replicate this? I don't know. Like, shots have to be created for him because, he had that nice step through move, but shots have to be created for him. And that's all on him catching the ball and being available and making shots when they come to him. But I would say this. I do think Isaac's defense is starting to look more like the Isaac defense that this Magic team knows he can be. He's starting to look more like all NBA defensive team Isaac, more and more. I'm not saying he's there yet, but more and more. The offense is really bad. And so this was a step in the right direction. Let's talk about Paolo's game. Interesting game. 12 points, 4 for 8 shooting, 4 for 4 from the foul line. Could have gotten a line a little bit more. 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Only 1 turnover. Jamal Mosley was asked about Paolo's game in the post game, and Jamal Mosley just kind of dismissed any talk about, Paolo only got 8. He was asked, Paolo only got 8 shots. Was that just him deferring? Would you like to see him more aggressive, or is it just like, that's just where the ball was going? And Mosley said, he's making winning plays. He saw that AB had it going early. He fed him. Paolo didn't take officially his first field goal until late in the second quarter. And so I want to say this. I do think, and this has been generally true since he came back from the injury, Paolo is trying to fit in. He's trying to make quicker decisions. He's trying to hold the ball less. He's trying to be a good teammate. And he always is trying to be a good teammate. But there's definitely been a bigger emphasis on quicker ball movement, understanding the attention that he's receiving, the double teams he's receiving, and making quicker decisions with the ball. And it hasn't always been perfect. It hasn't always been good. But I thought Paolo did a really good job being willing to be a decoy. Being willing to say, you're going to give me this much attention? Well, I'll feed it to Wendell Carter in the corner, and then he'll pass it to Tyus Jones on the wing, and he'll get the three. Like, I'd be curious to know how many hockey assists Paolo had in this game because of that. Having said that, Paolo can't take 8 shots. Like he's too important to not be involved in the offense. And some of that is on him being more aggressive. A lot of that's on Portland doing a good job denying him the ball and forcing the ball out of his hands and his willingness to do that. But like I mentioned earlier, like a big part of why the offense is struggling right now is when they hit a rut, when they hit that wall, they need someone that's going to break it down. They need someone that's going to play with force and intensity and make some tough shots to discourage a defense and force them to change what they're doing. And that is what Paolo Banchero does. That's why Paolo is a playoff performer. And again, the Magic are not doing anything in the playoffs if Paolo looks like this. Paolo's got to be all-star Paolo. And again, right now, he's not. He's being defended like he's all-star Paolo, which makes it tougher for him. But the Magic do need more. They got what they needed tonight. And again, a lot of that's credit to the defense. And Paolo was so much better on defense on Tuesday than he was Monday. Monday, defensive effort was terrible. Tuesday, defensive effort was a lot better. They still need more from Paolo. I'm not saying otherwise. But they did get some good stuff from him. And I would still say, you know, he pretty much averaged a triple-double on this road trip. This was the first game of this road trip that he didn't really get close to triple-double. I'm surprised he only had 3 assists. Like, it felt like he was moving the ball really, really well. But I say this all the time, like, you get to a close game, and it's going to be like, the Magic need to make a 3 somewhere, and you still don't trust them to make a 3. In a close game like this, it's the Magic need Paolo or need Desmond, or they need Franz, or they need Jalen. They need someone to be able to force some offense, to force the defense to collapse, and either make the shot anyway or kick out to the open shooter to make that 3 that they got to make to win games. And that to me was the piece missing in this game. Is Paolo was a little hesitant to attack and get into the teeth of defense. And look, they have a great shot blocker in Donovan Clingan. That was certainly part of it. Paolo does have to look for his own. He doesn't have to force things, and I think he's generally doing a good job not forcing things. But there does come a time when you're a star, and if you're going to use him like a star in the Magic, like we're setting up plays for him like he was the star, there are times when your star's got to be the hub and make plays. And Paolo wasn't quite there tonight. Again, didn't hurt the team. I think in the last 2 games, he hurt the team when he was kind of put in those positions. He didn't hurt the team tonight. He was mostly good. But obviously, like, we hold Paolo to a higher standard. Fair or unfair? And I do think it's fair. He's going to be a max player. He's, you know, they run offense through him like he's the hub, like he's the star. So we do hold him to a higher standard and say, you have to do more. The team relies on you to do more. Today, everyone picked him up. Whether it was Jonathan Isaac, whether it was Tyus Jones, whether it was Wendell Carter's 14 points, whether it was Anthony Black's 22 points, whether it was Noah Penda coming on strong with 8 points on 3 for 10 shooting, made 2 of 6 threes, missed his first 4 threes, I believe, 5 shots overall. I thought Penda played excellent defense on Denny Avdia in the 4th quarter. Like, Magic putting some size on Avdia really bugged him and slowed him down. Avdia still finished with 25 points, but 10 for 25 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3. Did have 8 assists, but 4 turnovers. Magic did a good job on him. They got a really nice 4 points and 12-49 from Jamal Cain. Really loved Jamal Cain's game. Jamal Cain, the Magic needed a Trevelyan Queen type game from somebody, from a two-way guy with all the injuries they're facing. They got that from Jamal Cain. And that's why Jamal Cain played more than Jet Howard. The Magic got the support they needed. This game is a runaway if Paolo plays like an all-star. And that's that's just kind of the vibe on this team right now. Is they're a team without a star. They're still a very good team. But obviously the margin for error is smaller when you don't have key players. The Magic are missing a lot of key players right now. If Paolo were playing like all-star Paolo, I'm not even talking all NBA Paolo, which we've seen a little bit of, But if he were playing like all-star Paolo, like we saw them. They were taking it to Denver on the road. They're taking it to Golden State on the road. They were blowing out the Utah Jazz. They were blowing out the Portland Trailblazers. All-star Paolo makes this a really good team, even without Franz. Because they have the bones, they have the structure, they have the foundation. And again, I've talked too long on this. I don't want to keep belaboring. I think Paolo is still doing more good than bad. And I think whatever the issue is, he's still working his way back from that issue. Whether it's health, whether it's mental, whether it's stamina, whether it's wind, whatever it is, he's still getting back into whatever shape he needs to be in. And maybe that's the wrong way to characterize it. But there's more good than bad from Paolo. But the big thing the Magic need from Paolo is his scoring and the attention he receives. And that's the element that just hasn't quite found itself yet. The passing, the playmaking, the rebounding is all back to what it was before his injury. And those were all the best of his career. But on a team that is still struggling to score, I know they're 11th in offensive rating, but still struggling to score, they need the drumbeat of his offense, and that part hasn't come around. But in any case, the Magic win 110-106. They hold the Blazers to 41.7% shooting, 9 for 32 from 3, just 15 for 19 from the foul line. This is the third best team at getting to the foul line in the league. Orlando, 21 of 23 from the foul line. They are the second best team at getting the foul line, so both teams did a good job avoiding fouls. Orlando forced 17 turnovers for 22 points. Orlando did get in trouble with offensive rebounds. They gave up 11 offensive rebounds for 16 second chance points. They gave up 28 fast break points. A lot of that coming off of misses, especially at the rim. It's been a struggle for Orlando. They're outscored 58-36 in the paint. A huge difference in this game. But at the end of the day, the Magic made the stops. Desmond Bane made that big block to preserve the Magic's lead by 2 points, dug out that rebound, made the free throws, made it a 4-point game, and that was that. The Orlando Magic defeat the Portland Trailblazers 110-106 to finish their road trip 2-2. They are back in action Friday for a Boxing Day match with the Charlotte Hornets. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the fun ways you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, and we're also on YouTube, just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. If you need a last-minute holiday gift or someone keeps asking you what you want, make it easy. Ask for the Everydayer Club. Ad-free episodes of the show, exclusive Discord service access, and more. Subscriptions can be gifted through LockedOnMagic.supercast.com. That's LockedOnMagic.supercast.com. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. I am taking tomorrow off for the holiday, so I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a very happy holidays. No matter what you're celebrating, take the day to watch some great basketball. Take the day to be with your loved ones. Open some gifts. Get a gift for yourself. Get the Everydayer Club for yourself or for your loved ones. Truly appreciate everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday. As I know pretty much everyone gets that day off. So enjoy the day. Truly appreciate all of you for making Locked On Magic community so special. We will be back Friday, though. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but we will be back Friday, maybe to talk about scoring in the paint. That's been an issue. We'll get to that. And hopefully we'll have some news on Jalen Suggs' report then as well. But until then, have a very Merry Christmas. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.